The book that will most change your life is the book you write. Seth Godin.
You're listening to Writing Roots, brought to you by Aspen House Publishing.
Welcome to Writing Roots. I'm Lee Hull.
And I'm Lee Esses. Welcome to 2024. This month is about answering the questions you don't even know to ask. When you're first starting to learn any new skill, there are so many things that you feel like you don't know in order to get started. That's what we're here for, and if this is your first episode listening to Writing Roots, you have started in a fantastic place.
If you have been around for a while, or if you are a little bit further along in your writing journey, don't tune out, because this series will prove to be a good reminder for those who have done a lot of writing, but may be self-taught, or maybe only doing some of the things that we're going to be talking about. We want to help everybody make sure that they get down to the roots of writing. There is a reason we're called Writing Roots.
A lot of people say, yes, I want to write a book. That's going to be my New Year's resolution. This year, I'm going to write a book. And then 2 weeks later, they go, oh, this is a lot more work than I thought it would be. So never mind. A lot of those excuses that you start to give yourself in order to not write, those are the things that we're addressing today.
We are going to go over a lot of these excuses that we see and provide our responses. I think all of us, myself included, have committed the crime of this excuse. I would write if I had time.
Our response to that is you make time for what is important to you. If writing is important to you, you make time for it. You go to bed early so you can wake up early, and when the house is quiet, you can get some writing done.
There are many things that we often do in our daily lives that uses time in ways that is not necessarily productive. Don't get me wrong, I am all for not being 100% productive because that is absurd and you will get burned out so fast. But if you really want to write, you can replace something with writing. For me, I need to stop gaming as much and take some of my gaming time and put it towards writing. I'm not going to give up gaming because I love it, and there's a reason I wrote 2 books about a professional gamer. But it is something that I recognize in myself. I would have time if I reprioritized writing in my life.
And that comes with making writing a priority. You want to make sure your writing is non-negotiable, even with yourself, especially with yourself. Well, the only time I have to write this weekend is going to be tonight, but that new movie came out that I wanted to see, that new episode of Reacher. So I am choosing either to write or to watch this TV show. Make writing non-negotiable so that you can have something at the end of the day that you've created. Another excuse that I hear a lot of people give themselves is, I would, but I have blank people in the house. My husband always wants to talk to me. Good, I'm glad he's engaged in your life, but if he respects you, he'll give you that space to write.
Just because they're existing around you doesn't mean that you can't have time to write. It is equally important in any relationship to have hobbies, to have interests that are just yours. And if they can't respect that and support you in your pursuit of something that you love, then maybe you need to have a conversation with them about that and why writing is so important to you and why you need to set aside 30 minutes a day to write.
Another excuse we hear a lot is, I have an idea for a book, I just don't know how to write it down.
Well, neither does anybody. Everybody has an idea. Stephen King had an idea at first. He had the guts and the tenacity to try writing it anyway, even though he might not have had the know-how to write it down.
Eventually, after doing it a whole bunch, your skill set grows. You become better. You can write things exactly as you are meant to write them. But you have to take that first step in the journey in order to make it to your destination.
Writing is always a journey, and you are going to start off bad. That's okay, so long as you start the journey. Another thing that can help with this is making sure that you read whatever you can along the way.
If you are a reader, then that will give you the tools to tell the story in a way that your audiences can comprehend, in a way that makes sense to you as a writer, as well as your audiences when they're reading.
Another excuse we see a lot is, I have all these ideas, but I can't finish any of them.
This is totally common. Having all of these ideas and having way more ideas than you will ever have time to write down these stories is incredibly common. I would say everyone I know that I've talked to about this particular part of the process has more ideas than they can ever write down. So selling your ideas online won't work. Don't be worried about other people stealing your ideas. You've got lots of them. Write the stuff you want to write.
A lot of the time, this part of your journey, where you have all of these ideas and you can't finish any of it, I use this part as building my skills. I have a lot of started but unfinished stories because I got an idea for usually a magic system or some part of a world, and then I was able to build that out. And it helped me learn how to build characters, how to start building a plot. Notice how I said start, because I never finished a plot. It helped me improve my prose and my dialogue. But don't give up trying to finish the ideas. Even if they're coming at a rapid pace and you are starting and stopping and starting and stopping on various different products, you're writing, and that is a good thing. When you find something that you really are passionate about, that you love that story, or that it is coming a lot easier than the other stories have, don't give up on it because you feel bad about all the dead works in progress.
I would say when I first started out, I was publishing about 1 in every 10 projects that I started. Now it's about 1 in every 2. But having all of these ideas is part of growing as an author, is part of understanding yourself and how to answer the muse when the muse is running away from you.
Our next excuse is, I wish I could, but I am too young or too old. There is no deadline. There is no age requirement to write and to publish. You have cases like Christopher Paolini, who wrote and published Aragon when he was 15 years old. And then you have, on the other side of it, people like Laura Ingalls Wilder, who were past retirement age when they wrote their first book. When you write doesn't matter. You still have a story to tell, and it can become a loved classic. It can reach an audience that you never expected. But it can't if you don't write it. The next excuse is one that I actually told myself quite a bit prior to writing, and that was, I'm not a creative person. I don't like drawing or costume design or all of these other things. I am a logic person. I am a problem and solution kind of person. Therefore, I can't do something creative like write a story. But if you're a problem solution kind of person, that's exactly what a story needs. I have changed from the you're either an artist or a logical thinker philosophy in the world to everyone has an art. Everyone has a drive to create something. Sometimes it's carpentry, sometimes it's dance. For me, and especially if you're a more logical thinker, storytelling is one of those great outlets for the creativity that every person needs to pursue. The final excuse that we're going to talk about today is I don't have any formal education. And when I took English classes in high school, I was a solid C student. It doesn't matter. You do not need degrees in creative writing or in English or in anything in particular. You never had to be good at school writing in order to write a great story.
I would say it's a completely different skill set entirely anyway, because you don't have to follow the essay format. You are engaging with your reader on a very different level. The School of Hard Knocks counts as school because that's where you get the stories that you have to tell now. Whatever stories that you want to tell are part of who you are and your experience as a human being. And if you have existed on this planet long enough to have the idea to write a book, then you have enough qualifications to write that book.
Some education can help, but mostly with the publishing industry, not necessarily the writing part of things. You don't need a formal education. You don't need somebody else to tell you that you have been certified in creative writing to create a story. All you need is an idea and the drive to do it.
Basically, what we're trying to say is you are unique and interesting and you have a story to tell. Otherwise, you wouldn't be listening to this podcast in the first place. So don't let anything out there, any excuses, don't let them stop you from
writing selfishly.
If you have a question or comment for our hosts or a topic you'd like us to cover, send us an email at writingroots@aspenhousepublishing.com or find us on Facebook by searching for Aspen House Publishing.